YouTube family, what it do? It's your boy D. I know it's been a minute that I dropped one of these, but I'm back. Today we got just a simple ball fade, and as you can see, he has grown that out quite a bit. So the first thing is going to be debulking, and that's pretty much just taking all that hair down, getting it all out the way. I'm cutting it down super low. I can't remember the last time he came and got a haircut. That's how long it's been. Needless to say, we got a job to do and we're going to knock it out. One of the key points for me of cutting hair is creating the basis of the blueprint and starting with the guidelines and working your way from there. So at this point, all I'm doing is just debulking the hair, knocking down that heavy weight in the back so that we can start creating our bald guideline and then begin to fading. I got this sped up so this won't be super long. I won't hold your time. Do me a favor, please. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you do not mind. You can say fire or trash, but leave me a comment, man. Appreciate it. Truly. So we're debulking, we're getting the hair out the way. And we're going to create our next guideline. And basically, our next guideline is just going to be super simple, guys. But in order to get there, you have to just get all that dead hair out the way. I am using a 1.5 guard here, and I'm just kind of just knocking it down. I could have gone lower, but I wanted to leave him some darkness because he was getting his hair retwisted. So kind of have that dark to light contrast, as I always tell you. So you can see me going against the grain here, kind of just getting all that dead hair out the way. Like I said, he hasn't combed it, got it cut in a while. So, boom. Okay, we got all that out the way, guys. Now we're going to create our initial bald guideline. So, I'm going to take my trimmers and I'm going to create a guideline. And I'm going to work my way around his scalp. And basically, we're just creating this bald guideline because everything up under that line is going to be a bald guideline. Basically, we're going to fade from that guideline to the top of his hair. And initially, we just want to be able to create the difference so that it's very, very noticeable, but you can see the difference between the bottom of the fade and then the blend of the fade to the top of the fade. His skin is kind of dry here, so that's why you may see the bumps. I try to advise my client as well as just taking care of your hair and doing things that you should do to better your skin. And that's a key portion, guys, is just taking care of your skin and your scalp. um, your barber cannot do it for you. You have to be accountable. The only thing he can do is make your hair look good. So take that into accountability if you are a client, or as the barber, you're trying to help your client. Just educate them on taking care of their skin. Um, so we're balding it out, guys. We created the bald guideline. We're working our way through this. As you see, like I said, I'm just trying to kill two birds with one stone and pretty much just beat a lot of things to the punch to help myself through this process, because this was a true revival. We brought him back. Like I said, he hadn't had a haircut in months. So that being said, we're just getting it going, and we're going to get into this fade here shortly. So now we're going to jump straight into this fade, and it's going to look funky at a minute. But how I went about this process, that I was just really, I was keeping it short and simple since that we had knocked down the heavyweight line. So normally I would just create my next guideline with my trimmers or my clippers, and I would create the guideline to where you would fade up into it. And so that we have already done. So you can see now I'm just fading through this haircut. And I did it differently as I do some of my haircuts. But because this was kind of like not a simple haircut, but not a hard one, so where I just made it easy and I just started fading into it quickly, and a lot easier. And I'm fading from the bottom to the top, and that's a key note. If you do take notes on anything and you're learning, make sure you take notes and understand that it's a process for everything. So we're fading from the bottom to the top here, and I'm kind of just working my way through this blending it out. You want to blend out that heavy weight line. And so that's what we're doing. I'm trying to get the bottom of that line out because I did put it in there with my Babyliss trimmers, but every time you cut, you need to be able to brush. That is a big factor. So brushing after every stroke, no matter what, will help you get all the dead hairs out of the way. And so you can see that fade, it's coming together. But we still got a little bit of work left to do. But right now, my focus in this video at this point is basically fading out that bottom of the line. And so when I turn my clipper a certain way, I'm kind of angling into the hair, and I'm only cutting half of the hair. It was kind of like a mid stroke, okay, of the clipper. You're kind of just taking it and you're kind of just trimming it just a tad bit. Okay. So now we're jumping around. I was doing my videos a little bit different. I try to do them organized, but I'm switching it up for you guys and I'm doing it a little bit different. So now we're going to go into the back of this hair and you're going to see me. Um, Basically, I'm going to fade. I'm going to start fading into this, creating this line so that I can work my way up into this fade and build up into it. And it's a step-by-step process. So I always tell you guys, take your time with it, do it right. So we've created that line. Now we're going to try to fade down to create all the debulk and get all the dead hair out of the way, and continue to fade our way up. Using our one, we're going to fade it out. And this is the biggest portion of it, is that you don't have to rush it. You don't have to take, forever doing it, but you don't have to rush it either. You take your time, you work your way into the fade, you make sure that everything is blending. And so using my one, I'm just making sure that everything is blending at this point of the haircut. Getting it all blended out is the key part. Okay. If you can understand that and do that, you will never have an issue, but you got to pay attention to the little things. And that's what matters. And so paying attention right here as I'm fine tuning and blending this fade out, it's going to make it a lot better for me. But also my client's going to have a clean fade that lasts. And the goal is a quality haircut. So you can see that blend coming together, but there still is dark spots. But I have to brush a lot and I have to really, really pay attention because he hasn't had a haircut again. So I'm saying that to let you guys know he hasn't a haircut in a while. We're trying to knock all that out. We're trying to get it blended and bring everything back to one. And that's the key portion of this haircut, is that we're trying to create a look for him that he has not had. In doing so, you have to really be diligent about the fade and the blend. And so I'm working my way through my guards. We're switching to a zero now. I'm sorry, not a zero. We're switching to no guard. And we're basically going to blend that bottom of that fade out. And so I'm using only 3 guards here, which is my 1.5, my 1, and my half guard, which is my 0 guard. And that basically just blends out the bottom before you blend it out with no guard. And you want the blend to be very well blended, but you want it to look good as to where you create a different level of contrast is the word I'm looking for. A different level of contrast, which meaning we're going to just try to make sure this fade is blended light to dark, dark to light, which is key points. Key points in this haircut that's going to make a huge difference. And more importantly, it'll make a quality haircut. And so you can see where my client, he has a little bit of skin issues in the back. But again, that's just from dry scalp and not really washing your scalp as you should, taking care of your hair. That's a key point. And I very much so remind them that you have to be able to take care of your scalp. You have to be able to take care of your hair. It's a big factor. It's a key factor. It's the biggest point of this whole thing, which is basically making sure that we educate you guys, or I educate you guys and get you guys understanding how going about a haircut works. And so blending the fade is the key part. You always want your client to have a clean, well blended, well balanced haircut. And I can't stress it enough, because a lot of people overlook it, or they may not take it as a big deal. But when you love something, you're passionate about it, and so you're going to take it as a big deal. And I take pride in everybody who sits in my chair. And no matter what, I'm going to make sure I get them looking the part, because that's what I do it for. If I'm not doing it for that, what's the point? You can't half-ass everything. You got to give it your all. And I think a lot of people overlook that and they mistake that. But That being said, no matter what, to each its own, you do what you want to do. So, guys, we're blending out the top of that a little bit more. I'm using my one. I'm going halfway with the clipper, and I'm just getting out those dark spots at the top of his crown near the parietal ridge of his head. And that pretty much just makes sure that it's very well blended and well balanced. Again, you don't want him going out here and having dark spots throughout his fade, because it kind of just makes it looks tacky. And then as a barber, it just makes you look like you don't really pay attention to the details, or you don't take care of the things you need to take care of. And like I always tell people, when you're cutting hair, if you're not doing it full throttle to 100%, what's the point? So you can see me working my way through this fade, blending it out, getting everything looking how it should look, which is for me is the key part. So that fade's looking good. And if you don't agree, let me know in the comments, man. If you can see something where I could better myself, let me know. I'm open to feedback. But again, I've been doing this a while, so I know what I'm doing, and I'm here to educate and better you guys. So we're gonna work our way to the last side of this fade. And so I did speed this video up because it was a lot longer than what it is. But as you can see, like I always tell you guys in my past videos, if it's not broke, don't fix it. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So when cutting hair, this is simple as this. Follow the script, stick to the blueprint. So I'm taking this hair down. I'm using my 1.5 card, and then we're going to fade up into his hair. So it's a simple process. Create your guidelines. We're going to create our guideline. Boom, no guard. Then we're going to fade up into it. And so basically, I'm creating a script that I'm going to follow and I'm going to stick to creating a quality haircut. And so you can see I use my pointer finger, I'm holding his ear down and I'm working my way. And there is my initial guideline. You see it, it's simple. It's nothing crazy. Like I said, this fade is a simple fade and we're not going to go crazy with it. It's just a ball fade, because he has the twisted or the two-strand twist type hairstyle on the top of his head. That being said, now we're going to fade up into this haircut. And when you're fading into the hair, just understand that you're creating a new look. And so for me, I'm creating this new look or I'm fading up into it. So when you fade up into it, you got to go with the grain and against the grain. So when you go against the grain, you got to be able to go with the grain to lay the hair down. And it makes a difference within the haircut. It makes it just a quality, well blended haircut, because then you're not leaving out any hairs or any missing hairs, and you're creating a clean quality fade. That's the biggest thing, man. Is when people get a haircut, they get the hair done. Women get the hair done. Men, they want quality. You can't mistake it. You can't overlook it. You can't, neglect it. You just got to know that no matter what it is, people want quality with what they're doing. So understand that when you're doing a quality haircut, you got to do it to your fullest and do it to your best, no matter what. Um, that makes it the quality. That's what they're paying for. And so I'm using my one here. I'm still fading up into it, still fading out those dark spots. That's gonna make a difference in this haircut. It's gonna make it quality, but it's also gonna make it noticeable to where you can see that's a clean fade. From there, we're gonna go to our half guard and we're gonna work our way down. So you still do what you did with the one guard, you do it with your half guard. And you're working your way through the haircut, blending out the heavy spots. That's the key part. And pay attention to the way the hair grows, okay? That's the biggest thing. I got my guard got cut in his hair, so I had to stop, pull it out for a second. But pay attention to the way the hair grows too. That will help you when you're cutting, and it's called directional cutting. You're cutting in the direction of the hair so that you can make for the desired look that your client wants. And so when you're cutting his hair, you got to be able to diligently understand and see that, okay, this is the way this hair grows. This is the way that hair grows. It makes for the better haircut. I promise you, you'll thank me later. Maybe not now, but you'll thank me later. Um, and so that makes a difference. So we're working our way through. We're brushing after every stroke. I'm pulling the hair back because I'm trying to get that heavy weight line up there near the parietal ridge of his head. I'm trying to get that out. Okay. Make sure you keep your client's head, I'm sorry, keep your client's head above and, at a level so that you're not uncomfortable cutting hair, getting your body in uncomfortable positions because they want to hold their head down or they want to be on their phone. That's the biggest thing. So it makes a difference, but you got to pay attention to the details, is what I always tell people. Um, and if you pay attention to the details, like I said, it will make you a better barber. Okay. Paying attention to the details will help you understand what it is that you're trying to do and the goal you're trying to achieve so that you do it to the best of your ability. Fine tuning, as a wise man used to tell me, is you gotta cross your T's and dot your I's. You gotta pay attention, really. You really, really do. This will help make you a better barber. And anything you're doing, whatever it is you're doing, it'll make you better at it. Paying attention to the details. So still fine tuning this haircut, still cleaning up some of the spots, getting those heavy weight lines out. As you can see here, I'm just fading up into it. We're going to continue to brush and we're going to continue to go with the grain to help get those hairs laid down. That's going to create the best look. um what and that kind of it helps you understand, okay, boom, this is what I got to do, this is what I need to do. So you can see that fades coming together. We're just blending out those dark spots. Okay, using my half now, I'm just working my way up under where I faded with that one guard. That will knock out any weight line that the one guard did not do. And after that, you all know it's no guard. Okay, so at that point, we're just really blending. We're really blending out the fade, getting the heavy dark weight lines out of the way. If you can see it, then it'll make sense to you and you can understand, okay, boom, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm trying to do, this is where I'm going about it, and it's going to make it make sense as you get better. But repetition in this industry is going to be your best friend. I cannot make it up, guys. So with that being said, pay attention to how I'm steadily working through the details. And I know it's sped up here, but just really pay attention that it'll make a difference when you're cutting hair or you're learning to cut hair and you want to be a better barber. Um, I try to do different things and different hairstyles so you guys can understand it and get a different outlook of how to go about doing certain haircuts, because then you can reference one haircut to another. But um, in this haircut, you can see now I'm pretty much just blending out that fade at the bottom, and I'm getting it to blend to where that now it's gonna be very, very smooth, very, very fine tuned, a nice dark to light, light to dark contrast, as you can see. But you gotta really pay attention to the details and focus on blending it out. That makes it for a better haircut. Can't make this one up. It makes a much more quality haircut, and if you can understand that, you'll be a great barber. That's the best thing, and that's what most people are looking for. Most people are looking for a quality barber. Um, it makes you better. It makes you a lot better than you think. But you gotta put the work in. You gotta practice. You gotta put in the repetition to get better. And for me, that's my main goal. Is just no matter what, getting better. And I've been doing this a long time. Um, but to each his own. Do what you want to do. One thing about life I've realized is that you got to be able to focus on your end goal, and that's what I'm doing. Is focusing on my end goal. So that's bettering y'all, but bettering myself too. So fading out that side right there, that parietal ridge, we're just blending it out a little bit more because it's a few dark spots. Um, and honestly, sometimes you will probably try to make things perfect, but it won't always be. But I'm a perfectionist, guys, so that's my biggest thing. So we're gonna jump onto this hairline, and we're gonna get near the end of this video soon. So I'm gonna just kind of jump y'all through this and jump around, and we're gonna get this finished. So as you know, with hairlines, I always say start from the middle and work your way to the left, and then work your way to the right. So we start in the middle, and in his corners, his hair is real thin, so that's where you're gonna see me brush a lot. But I'm working my way to my left, and I'm giving you guys a pretty good view so you can see how I go about it, but I'm staying exactly where I am as I line it. Tap and go, tap and go. Turning it vertical, I'm going to create his vertical bars. Now, the vertical bars are kind of key component into this. So sometimes I'll do the vertical bars and then I will do the hairline. It kind of just depends on how I'm going about doing a haircut or how their hairline is. But for me, it makes things a little bit easier when going through the process. So you see that vertical bar, creating that line, boom, coming down on it. There you go. Line it up some more, tap and go, and then come down, which kills all that hair at the bottom. You want to get the hair at the bottom out the way. That's the biggest thing. And so lining the beard, we just from the top to the bottom, we just stay in one line, tap and go. Sometimes people drag that trimmer. You don't gotta drag it. Just tap it and go. Tap it and go, and follow down the guideline. Keep it simple. Make it easier on yourself too. And the little things is just, I might bald it out at the end, clean it up a little bit more, make that fade a little bit blurrier. It helps when you can distinguishly see the bottom of the fade where it's clean and bald to the top. And so now I'm going to work my way to the other side of this hairline, and we're going from the middle to the right now. So I always do my left because my left side is weaker than my right. But for me, um, it's easier for me to work that way. I had to really understand what works for me and what doesn't because I learned from a lot of barbers. And so that's the biggest thing. So I'm gonna give you guys a little angle view, but I'm hitting that vertical bar, and you can see where I'm hitting it. Boom, boom, and I'm kind of tapping it as I go, and I'm creating that line so that I can connect the dots. And that's the name of this game when you're doing hairline. Sometimes it's just connecting the dots. So you can see me, I'm doing that. I'm stretching the skin. I'm keeping everything perpendicular and vertical. That makes for a better haircut. We're going to do the back of the beard real quick and line it. And like I said, just tap and go. Stay within the line. Comb those hairs out, brush those hairs out so you can see what's sticking out, and then just line it. I did hit it with that level 3 spray, guys, so don't ever get it twisted. But you can see how clean that fade looks from where we started. And it's crazy. I always tell people, but, you know, it's not about how you start, but it's how you finish. And the same with this haircut. How I started and how I finished is totally different, way different. And so you're going to get a glimpse of a hairline with enhancements here because I'm going to add enhancements to his corners. I'm not going to overly dark it. I use the darkest brown, not the darkest brown, but just one darkest brown. And so from there, we're going to create by using an enhancement that women use. Pretty much is just liner. And so that tan brings out that fade. You see? Seeing that, it's going to make you understand and see that, okay, boom, you know what you're working with. You can go from there, okay? So I've already applied the enhancements here. I'm hitting the beard, lining it up, pulling the skin, stretching the skin, making sure that those lines are crisp, okay? Razor flat to his face, just creating a clean, crisp look. You can see how those enhancements look on his hairline. Not too heavy, okay? And so we're not finished here, but we're going to finish trimming up the beard. Here's another angle, guys, of how I do the beard. Make sure you stretch the skin and pull that skin, okay? You see that fade is very well blended. Like I said, how it started and how it finished is totally different. This part is pretty much just killing the enhancement line, getting it out the way, creating it to a very, very thin line. And the trick I learned is you can use Cool Care to liquidize your blade to help that line disappear more. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to just push up on it. And it pretty much just helps that enhancements. It helps it pop. You can see it more. It makes a bit of a difference to where you can see the difference between the hairline with the enhancements. And boom, full chop, guys, finished look. I wouldn't say it's probably my best work, but it's still quality, and that's the end of the goal. He liked it, he looked good, and that's all that matters, and that's what you're aiming for is quality. Hairline crispy, everything looks good, beard lined up clean. It looks good, guys, okay? So appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Leave me a comment. Let me know. Fire or trash, man. Much love, guys. Stay blessed. It's your boy D. Let's go.